Welcome back, everyone. Today we are playing Pink Noise, which is a horror visual novel inspired by the 80s time period and media such as Stranger Things. If you've been here for a while, you might have seen me play the demo for this game a few months back. Anyways, without further ado, we are gonna dive straight in. Act 1, along shady alleys. The art is just as beautiful as I remember it. That was one of my favorite parts about the game. Fall comes to Riverwood with chilling winds and the first drizzle. A bleak mist obscures the narrow streets, clinging to the rooftops, tangling in the bushes, and swirling around fields. Fog and murky blackness suit the peculiar suburb. Nestled amid the forests and mountains, it's a decaying, quiet place, waiting for winter. As the evening wears on, the town is wrapped in thickening twilight, with only a few streetlights serving as solitary islands of illumination in an ocean of darkness. On one such evening, ordinary and cold, 4 teenagers are strolling around an old park, engrossed in a lively discussion. The first fallen leaves rustle underfoot. As the wind reaches the trees, their branches groan out a long, plaintive creak, as if already lamenting the loss of their motley attire. 2 of the teenagers, a tall boy and a fair-haired girl, walk hand in hand. Their friend carefully hops from one paved slab to the next, balancing as though a bottomless chasm might yawn open beneath them. A quiet, stooping boy in glasses trails behind them, casting glances at the road. Ahead, the street splits into 2, then veers sharply out towards the wasteland. Just a half-century before, a tiny school stood there. Now, only a barely discernible foundation and heaps of broken bricks choked by stubborn vines remain to remind them of its erstwhile existence. Year by year, students have taken that path, carrying with them their thoughts and fears, high hopes and grand dreams. From tough exams and first crushes to bullies' bonks on the head or simply yearnings to be the star player of a local team. Be it a glow in autumn gold, cloaked in verdant summer green, or blanketed beneath snowdrifts, Riverwood will never forget them, just as they'll never forget their town and its secrets. The older a place grows, the more mysteries it keeps locked away. One of the girls leaps into the distorted blur of light cast by an old street lamp. Eva wipes shadowy webs off her cardigan, gossamer threads only she can perceive. She glances at the overgrown bushes, which have long since forgotten the tender care of gardening shears. The other girl scoffs at her friend's silly gestures. She wriggles her fingers to demonstrate, her palms red and wrinkled from the hot water.
It's not my fault Mrs. Hopstone didn't save enough teeth to avoid spitting and lisping. Besides, she should have explained it better. The bottle must have been left open.
Actually, she explained just fine, but you still put 3 chlorine tablets in the rubbing alcohol instead of 1. Surprise, surprise, the reaction was extreme.
Yeah, that bang was something else. My left ear's still ringing.
Honestly, I really like all the voice actors. I feel like they fit the characters pretty well. Eva stops hovering in a faint halo of light and nods. She's never been reprimanded at school before today. Sure, she would have been way more upset if it hadn't been Brian's fault, but still, it's just another adventure. Something her and her friends will laugh about one day. And a happy memory is worth more than any reprimand. Especially when her parents will probably forget it by tomorrow.
Alright, alright.
He raises his hands apologetically.
Next time we team up, I won't let you down. I'll put in 2 chlorine tablets.
The group passes a row of houses as dissimilar to one another as is ever possible in a suburb. The time-worn house's windows glow faintly in sepia tones, as though the light itself has aged and can no longer disperse the deepening darkness. The buildings they pass seem to be contending for the greatest neglect. Every other resident would be considered an eccentric in any other town. For instance, Greybone has leaned on the rusty mower on his front stoop. Oh, what the heck? It skipped that dialogue. Probably user error. Oh well. The abandoned duplex across the road still bears the scars of a long-forgotten fire. Its windows are boarded up. Even during the day, it has a miserable look. The teens keep their distance. I love these little sock cats, but just as I said in the demo, why are they outside? When it rains, they're gonna get all soggy and moldy and mildewy. Ugh, poor little kitties, they deserve better. The gloomy old lady had knitted yet another pear-shaped cat and proudly displayed it on the terrace, thus expanding her ugly army. I think they're cute. I don't think
You
they're
had a cup of
ugly.
tea together. Did baby Tony apologize?
Once, Eva's brother had filched one of the cats and taken it home. Neither of their parents had called any attention to it, so she'd had to explain herself that taking other people's belongings without permission was wrong.
No, I was the one to apologize. Miss Harvitz didn't say a word. She only gave us a cold stare and sniffed loudly. She scared poor Tony so much that he couldn't fall asleep for half a night.
You have such a giving heart when it comes to your brother. He might be raising a hell of a night. Why in the world would he want to snatch a cat, though?
He was just a little kid. He came, he saw, he took it home.
There's no need to tell her friend that Tony had intended to give Eva the cat. He knew she wanted a pet more than anything in the world. He thought he could cheer her up with at least a toy one. I mean, it's the thought that counts, right? He'd never taken anything that didn't belong to him before. Not out of fear of getting caught or punished. He simply found stealing shameful. Tony would sooner give away his breakfast than steal something from someone weaker than him. No doubt that kind of attitude will make school harder for him, but such is his nature. Contemplating her brother's heart of gold, Eva smiles softly. They pass by Miss Harvitz's terrace, curiously eyeing her odd dolls. Twilight makes the cat's silhouettes look eerie. Their pearl button eyes glimmer in the fading light as if they know secrets that have been buried too long.
If I go crazy one day, I'm gonna definitely buy a nice crib close to the park. The neighbors here match me perfectly.
Honestly, I agree. I love how eccentric they are.
Yeah, I can't stand this street. It's like it's lost in time and space. How about we head through the square?
No one protests, so she leads them onward, sweeping into the nearest alley. A gust of wind bursts through the narrow walkway, permeating the air with the stench of raw wooden planks and rotting garbage. The houses in the alley look like they've been copied and pasted. They had likely been built at the same time to house factory workers. The only thing that differs is the light in the windows, on or off, making it clear whose shift it is tonight. 2 Christmases before, Brian got beaten up here. Some high school students apparently didn't appreciate his sharp tongue. They'd shoved him into a snowbank and packed snow under his sweater. But the most humiliating part was a neighbor kicking them all out. She came out onto the doorstep with one of Brian's classmates, a cute but overly chatty girl. By the very next day, the whole school had heard the story about him shaking snow out of his pants and whimpering like a puppy. He would have preferred being rolled into a giant snowman and left there like that till spring. Brian adjusts the backpack full of baseball equipment, which has crawled down his shoulder, and walks up to Ashley.
I'm so fed up with this stupid school. All these teachers, homework, tests.
But the year just started.
That only makes me want to study even less. There's nothing worse than coming back to school after summer.
He jumps over a puddle and takes Ashley's hand.
It's like wearing old trainers you've already grown out of. Can't wait for college. When I start working, I'll buy real catcher's gear. Or at least a better glove.
His palm still hurt from Friday's practice session. The equipment donated to their team left much to be desired.
Better buy a slugger straight away. It'll pay off much sooner. Best case scenario, you can be a bouncer at a bar.
Ashley laughs at his childishness. Brian doesn't get the
Just a good job
complexity.
like his is hard to find without higher education.
I keep accidentally clicking too soon and skipping dialogue. Ashley grabs her Leo Zodiac pendant. It's a nervous habit, something she does whenever she says something important. It calms her.
College is just another place to study.
This world's too cruel. Illness, starvation, school.
Hey, I don't think school's that bad. It's important.
I like school though.
Yeah, see, Michael and I are on the same page. Michael tries to squeeze into the conversation. All along, he's been trailing behind the others, glancing suspiciously at parked pickups as if they might bite. He hasn't kept up with his friends since he noticed 2 silhouettes in an old Ford. Oh, I remember this jump scaring coming. 1 female, 1 male. The mutilated faces stared back at him. He could have sworn he'd heard a hoarse, gurgling whisper. Their garbled words sank into his skin like windshield fragments, making his chest constrict like his ribs were breaking. Every breath pained him like his lungs were pooling with blood. Then, a light had flashed over one of the doorsteps, dispersing the blackness. Suddenly, both seats were empty again, and the strange vision turned into nothing but a local flour mill uniform hanging from a grab handle. Michael wipes the sweat off his forehead and listens carefully to his friends.
Of course. I'd love school too if I had your scores, Mikey.
Exactly.
Agreeing, Ryan quickly squeezes Ashley's hand.
Maybe I should wear glasses too. Sounds like homework doesn't look so boring through them.
They walk by the Murdoch's front garden and onto a street flooded with pink and blue neon store signs.
You'd better stop complaining. We only have 3 years of school left. Just imagine. Life's gonna be completely different afterward. We might even lose touch.
To Eva, the idea of moving away feels like teleporting to an unfamiliar planet. So many new people, places, and interesting stories. She hasn't even fully explored Riverwood yet. In her mind, the town's old houses and old residents still harbor so many secrets, enigmatic and dark. In comparison, some unknown huge city feels like a bottomless well, impossible to fully drain even if you had 100 years. In a future like that, it would be hard to make time for anything from the past, but she doesn't plan to forget her loved ones ever.
If friendship's real, distance means nothing. My dad calls his friends from other states every single day.
She's tempted to add that they mainly have business conversations and argue often, but they don't need to know that. In her mind, her parents are role models everyone should strive to imitate, not just her and her brother. There isn't a single family in the entire town happier or more close-knit than Ashley's, and that's nothing but the truth.
Well, a couple of cornfields and state borders ain't enough to break you up.
What the hell do Ashley's dad, your love, and cornfields have in common? Look around.
Eva stops and points towards the houses swaying in the darkness.
Is there anything really happening up here? Crunk Jim driving his tractor into a ravine was practically the only breaking news here in 6 months.
Well, adulthood is a real challenge. People grow up, then they start to feel sorry that time flew by so fast, and they want to experience school life again.
She pauses, searching for the right words. Quoting someone else is one thing, but will she soon regret those bygone days herself? After all, Eva already recalls her early childhood with nostalgic warmth. Back then, every little thing felt like it was brimming with wonder. Now a doll is no longer a sorceress princess or a traveler from a faraway world. A toy soldier is just a piece of plastic, and a blanket no longer serves as a battlefield for alien creatures. Making stories up for others is simple, but how are you supposed to fix yourself? Maybe the older you get, the duller and more colorless the world becomes. Honestly, that's a depressing sentiment, but I mean, she's kind of right.
It's like going back to a fairy tale you weren't grateful enough for earlier.
They're just nice words, nothing more. Bring adults back to the textbooks, and they'll howl all day. I don't remember any fairy tales where the characters were forced to read Walt Whitman's poetry. What about you, Michael?
Oh,
Me neither.
the poster fell, and the friends stroll from one store to the next, looking at the flickering signs. Up close, they no longer seem bright and cheerful. They look rather ramshackle and out of place in the dilapidated suburb.
Let's go home, okay? Dad's on a shift today, but if he comes back to grab a bite to eat and I ain't there...
Brian scratches his neck and sticks out his tongue. Ashley laughs and punches him in the shoulder. Michael, trailing behind everyone, suddenly stops and looks at the only sign that still sparkles as brightly and cheerfully as the day it was hung.
The arcade's open! I doubt there's anyone there this late. We can play S-Fighter.
Usually calm and quiet, he now blossoms. Behind his thick glasses, his eyes shine with passion.
Totally. No stupid helpers, suckers, or high school jerks.
The boys lean against the dusty window, as happy as if they were meeting their idols. The girls only snort in irritation.
What? Suddenly you're not gonna run back to your crib to avoid Daddy's shellacking?
I'll risk it. There's always a chance Dad'll kick you in the head. But the chance to throw Hadoukens and not wait in a frickin' line for the game, now that's rare.
It takes so little to make them happy, doesn't it?
Yeah, boys will be boys. Ashley glances at her friend.
Let him play. By the way, did you hear about the arcade machine that appears in the hall by itself?
Ashley rolls her eyes. Eva's fantasies and reality have little in common. Her friend refuses to grow up, In her world, even a tattered old shoe might open its jaws and spin some ridiculous yarn. And that's exactly why Ashley adores Eva. She's so incredibly different from Ashley's overly rational parents, and from Ashley too. With her, getting bored is an impossible mission. Even if they were both locked in an empty basement, Eva would still manage to discover something fascinating there. He'd pull Ashley in and get her into trouble again. They'd giggle about it later. But Eva doesn't need to know that. It isn't like anyone can stop her anyway.
You start playing and can't stop. The game never ends. It's impossible. But you try over and over again, forgetting about eating or even going to the bathroom. Over and over again, not thinking of your parents and friends. Over and over again until
you run out of your allowance, can't afford breakfast, and stay hangry for the rest of the week because you're dumb.
I agree. Michael peels away from the glass and adjusts his lopsided glasses.
Well, that doesn't sound so scary if you got no allowance to begin with. Want to go in or what?
gosh, they're looking at us like dogs staring at a steak.
Ashley waves her hand authoritatively.
It's creepy to go home when it's so dark out. But if you win 100 tickets, me and Eva are gonna pick a prize.
Don't worry, I will get you your 100 tickets. Act 2, it's high time for games. The spacious room is somehow stuffy, permeated with the stench of hot plastic, unsuccessfully covered up by pungent berry air fresheners.
Smells like wasted time.
As if. This shack smells nothing like school.
The clamor of screensavers and demo walkthroughs melts into a terrible cacophony. No wonder the zoned-out cashier is shielding himself from it with a set of greasy, cushioned headphones. The walls are plastered with posters, promotional flyers, and all sorts of paper trash. However, one ad stands out. If you beat a record, you can win tickets and exchange them for prizes. Such generosity was easily explained. With the start of the school year, kids have a bit more cash in their pockets than usual. There's no one in sight except the cashier, yet the floor is peppered with trash, from crumbled soda cans to chocolate bar wrappers. The arcade closes in 30 minutes. Local kids can only hang out here at this hour in the summer. The hall is packed with all sorts of arcade machines, each game's name glowing invitingly. Clips of characters deliberately failing to be different levels flash on the screens over and over. The boys start searching for the most interesting game. Alright, we got Monkey King, Aga, and I have no idea what that is. I can read this, something medieval? Monkey King, an arcade golden oldie. The game machine is ancient and in poor condition. The sign barely even flickers anymore. One of the buttons is cracked. Lalaga! This was once one of the most famous games. Now this veteran arcade cabinet is used only while the others are busy, or when a couple of truly insane nerds try and fail to break the record of someone named Lily the Rat once or twice a month. S-Fighter, the best game the hall has ever seen. Hugh and Ren are frozen on the signboard, ready to jump each other. The floor around the arcade machine is brightly polished, worn down by student sneakers. If I remember correctly, this leaderboard is actually people that were the top tier supporters on the Kickstarter, which I think is super cool. The boys run toward the machine. It hasn't yet been wrecked the way some of its time-worn neighbors have. Even so, the buttons and plastic casings bear scuffs, cracks, and grubby marks left by countless kids' hands. Worst of all, instead of some thrilling music, the machine is emitting only a hoary wheeze. Like an old man struggling to clear his throat and instead pushing a death rattle out of his rusty lungs. A piece of cardboard with a blood-curdling inscription is stuck to the screen, temporarily out of order. No, cashier cannot fix it. Rest in peace.
Who's the god of computer nerds? The monkey holding the barrel?
Brian grumbles something in response, and Michael just shrugs.
A technician's coming, but not till at least next Tuesday. So y'all need to choose some other game. Try Road Blasters. It's the freshest here.
The cashier points at the brand new arcade game displaying a car blowing up and drowning in a fiery, pixelated crowd.
Dang it!
Michael's voice trembles. He seldom lets himself betray such emotion, but Brian has his back.
What else have you got, other than cars?
All that and a bag of chips. If you're ranking the top 5 of Pumpkin Man, I'll give you a double prize.
He nods towards the counter.
No one really plays this trash. We've got a real shot at setting a record.
If I remember, Pumpkin Man is a Pac-Man, knockoff. A gray cat lounging on a chair next to another machine captures the girl's attention. 4 letters shine on her pink collar. Lucy.
So sweet.
Aww, I love kitty cats. Yes, of course we want to pet the cat. The cat flattens her ears and grumbles.
I bet you $5 she doesn't remember how clean hands with no cheese ball dust on them feel.
She kinda looks like the cat Mom was trying to paint last month.
Let me guess. The cat in the painting had mandibles and a pair of tentacles.
I wish. She was just in the background. Mom paints people. You know how it is.
Ashley knows. She wishes she didn't, though. Those paintings are why she prefers inviting Eva over rather than visiting her. Well, one of the reasons anyway. They'd had a slumber party at Eva's place twice. Both nights, Ashley had been plagued by nightmares. The root cause was a few masterpieces Eva's mom considered her favorites. Compared to those monstrosities, plain old horror movies were practically bright, cheery cartoons. Meanwhile, the boys approached the coin-operated Pumpkin Man machine. Instead of usual Mr. or Mrs. Pac-Man, a bright orange pumpkin is flying around tough levels, eating licorice candies. The display sears their eyes with poisonous shades as a bunch of green blots chase the voracious pumpkin.
What you think? Are these ghosts?
Michael peers at the sign.
Here's a hunter shooting the pumpkin with a shotgun.
They're restless hunter's souls then.
Awesome.
Fair enough.
Catch the pumpkin. Then everyone's happy. The hunters are safe in their graves and we're home.
Brian decisively draws a handful of coins from his pocket and inserts them. The coins clatter through the machine's metal innards and settle in its stomach. The maze dissolves into pixels and rearranges itself into the first level. Its corridors are speckled with candies, and the ghosts begin darting ravenously around their cage.
With no prize. I ain't leaving until we empty out the prize counter.
The cashier shudders at the thought.
We close in half an hour.
Brian winks at Michael.
Then he's gonna have 15 minutes left over to cry over his empty counter.
Alright, well, here goes nothing. I suck at Pac-Man, but we're gonna make it work. Don't worry, guys. Alright, where do I start? Oh, dude, I really suck, actually.
Wrong way!
Okay, we're fine. I'm doing good, guys. Wait, do I not get the power-ups that let me, like, eat them? Because I swear there's, like, thingies that let you eat the ghosts in Pac-Man. Unless I'm stupid. They're not even, like, coming for me that hard. Okay, I can do this,
Wrong way!
Okay. No! I got freaking stuck there. I only had 3 little dots left.
To the left!
Okay, we're fine. We did it! Alright, level 2. I got this. So I guess I can't eat them like I could in the demo, but it makes them run away from me at least?
This
Ah!
time.
Okay. I'm fine. No! I hate my life, dude. I suck at this. I am not a Pac-Man pro. Oh, wait, I can't eat them? I guess there's just no indicator. No! Oh, dude, I'm raging so hard. I suck at this. I lost! Alright, I'm not a quitter. I'm restarting. That was just a practice run, guys. Don't worry. I got this now. I got this. Okay. I can do this.
Time.
Ah, dude. Last freaking... Oh, dude, I suck. I absolutely suck. Oh, I did it. Okay. Level 2, we can do this. Dude, I have so much anxiety, like I'm having heart palpitations because of this. Oh, that's so stupid.
Level.
Dude! You're joking! Dude! I'm literally clicking the buttons and I'm not freaking moving! No, dude! I just couldn't get out of there. Oh, I hate this. Dude, see, my up button wasn't working there. Oh my god.
This.
Okay, I beat 2 levels. Last one, I only have 1 life though. Oh shoot, dude. Claim tickets, all or nothing. Do I claim? All or nothing. This is gonna suck, I know it is. But I'm determined. I will keep trying if I have to. No, you're joking. Oh my god. Sometimes the clicks just don't register, I swear. Okay, look, we did it, and we didn't lose a single life that time. I'm getting better. Pac-Man was never my strong suit.
To the left.
Oh, you're joking. Oh my god, no!
Wrong way.
I hate my life. Oh, look at that! Okay. We got this. Save one more time. Oh, you're joking. Are you joking? Oh.
Wrong way. You got him. We'll beat this level. Wrong way. To the left.
This time. This time.
To the left.
Am I gonna do it? Am I gonna do it? Let's go! Oh my gosh, I don't want to talk about how long that actually took me. Let's just say I have been retrying over and over for a really long time now. I will not elaborate. But I finally did it. Let's just save because Lord knows I will not be able to recreate that in the future. Pumpkin Man gobbles up the last candy and the leaderboard flares up on the screen. Michael and Brian are on top. No way anyone's beat that anytime soon. It isn't the kind of thing they would boast about at school, but Michael can't help but feel genuine pride in himself and his friend. But he's even more excited about having made the most of every coin they've spent.
Dang! Look how many we've got!
The machine starts to print out the sacred tickets. 10, 20, 50, 100. The boys stare at their treasure, jaws agape. They can only imagine what they'll be worth. Oh, who is this? I did not see this person in the demo. I wonder if that's for like completing all 3 levels? The door bursts open to reveal Big Peter standing in the threshold. He's a high schooler, way too tall and way too stupid. The menacing image on his t-shirt stares into the world through empty skull sockets. Of all the bad guys who bully elementary schoolers, Peter is the most persistent and vindictive. If you fight back, he always finds a way to get even. He'd lurk in alleyways with his buddies and sneak into your yard after dark to break your bike or windows. Please don't tell me he's gonna steal our tickets. He strides up and punches Michael and Brian.
My bros are gonna shit their pants when I tell them how 2 chicks disguised as boys were playing some shitty pumpkin adventure instead of S-Fighter.
Way to be a jerk. The machine is broken, bro. Michael pushes his glasses back into place, his ears ringing. At least the stupid expression on Peter's face after seeing their high score makes up for all his pain and sadness. The cashier sitting at the desk just looks on indifferently. Peter's eyes flash with rage. He pushes the machine and turns on the boys, reeking of tobacco and sour sweat.
What you holding, Four Eyes?
No, leave my tickets alone. I worked so hard for them. Michael takes a step back and trips over a chair. Brian clenches his jaw. He's never once wanted to see that ugly mug anywhere but school. How did this jerk find them?
Listen up, lovebirds. Give me the tickets, and I'll forget what baby Brian said with his shitty little mouth.
What? Not waiting for a reply, Pete snatches their tickets and tries to wrench them out of Michael's hands. The friends have no time to think. They have to fight back or surrender. Dang! Do I give them the tickets or no? I'm gonna get my butt kicked, aren't I? You know what? Screw you. I worked hard for those tickets. Michael nods and takes a step forward. And the threat in front of them is not a pixelated licorice candy, but a vengeful giant. And Michael is hardly an all-consuming pumpkin, but he would never let Brian face that menace alone. Roaring, Peter tries to punch Michael in the stomach, but misses. Brian grabs his arm and twists it so hard that the high schooler howls. Outraged, Ashley rushes to her friend's side and pushes Pete as hard as she can. The bully falls back, hitting his shoulder against the heavy arcane machine. Hard.
Don't touch my friends, douchebag!
Honestly, good for you, standing up for your friends, girl. As Ashley steps up to defend the boys, Eva runs up to the cashier and yells something, pointing at the phone and then Peter, probably to call the cops, I don't know. The cashier idly gets up, picks up the phone, and raises it above his head. He doesn't care in the slightest if somebody gets beaten up. He's just fed up with the yelling and, more importantly, that the teens have nearly busted an expensive machine. Peter gets up, snatches most of the tickets out of Michael's hands, and stomps his way to the door. Standing in the threshold, he turns back and shouts,
See you at school, Wiener!
Michael is left clutching onto just 8 crumpled tickets. They can barely even get him a cheap keychain, but they're out of money, so they just shuffle up to the cashier. That sucks, dude. I got 100 freaking tickets, and you're telling me all I'm left with is 8? That's so stupid. Ashley is fuming. Psychos like Peter should be kept separate from regular people. If his parents couldn't knock any sense into him, Ashley's older brother might do the job. And it wouldn't take too much to convince him either. You can't let them make fun of you, or you'll end up broken. And when words no longer work, a couple of good punches will. And that's what Dad always said. She raises her chin and coldly accuses the cashier. Unperturbed, the cashier answers confidently, like it's just business as usual.
What's the point of getting involved in some kids' fight? Boys should grow up, make their own decisions, and
Bruh.
stand up for themselves. Like you, apparently.
Okay, so I guess this is where we have to pick what prize we want. Slinky, 20 winning tickets. A red Slinky, an American golden oldie. You can perform lots of simple tricks with it. Eva's promised her younger brother she'll get him one just like this. GamePod, 10,000 winning tickets. The best prize ever. The boy's wildest dream. I wonder how long you'd have to play to win this many tickets. 1986 Cops baseball card set, 40 winning tickets. The cards' prices slumped since everyone rushed to buy them a few years back, hoping to sell them at a profit later, even if they aren't interested in sports. Brian's personal collection is only missing the 1986 and 1984 sets. He'd love this. Magic Ball, 50 winning tickets. A magic ball. Ashley would love this toy as she believes in fortune telling and horoscopes. Cube, 35 winning tickets. A good but hard puzzle. Michael loves stuff like that. He'll probably solve it in 15 minutes. I don't have enough for any of these things. I'm left with 8 freaking tickets. What can I even get? Old VHS tape, no price tag. Okay, well, fair enough.
Gonna get a prize today?
But tomorrow at school, Peter and his hyenas will give us so much crap that we won't sleep for a week.
He was gonna pay for that scuffle for sure. Peter will hunt them down all week to teach him how to obey. Creeps like him can't fathom anyone refusing to fear them. Brian's already running through how he can dodge Peter's payback. He looks so downright annoyed that he can't hide it. Not from his friends. Ashley ruffles his hair, and that touch is worth every punch.
We'll work it out. They're strong, but dumb. I'm proud of you guys. You didn't back down.
The cashier abruptly snatches an old VHS tape off the counter and hands it to Ashley.
What a fighter. Here, I think y'all have earned a prize.
Thanks. But I'd prefer it if you actually call the police next time, not just threaten to.
Literally! And even then, like, he stole our tickets. You know we had 100 tickets. Just honor our 100 tickets and don't honor his. It's that simple. Let us have our prize still. Screw you. Ashley hands Eva the tape. The moment she takes the strange prize, Eva completely forgets the clash with Peter. The tape has her full attention.
I wonder what's on here.
If you find out, let me know. It's been lying around here for nearly a week.
On cloud 9, Eva stashes the trophy in her backpack and heads to the exit. The others follow her lead, still raving about the fight. Act 3, a bad sign. Most of the signs are already off, submerging the thickets, basements, and narrow alleyways in darkness. It splashes out onto the square, engulfing it in blackness. Only a few pickups and locked bicycles are still around, all parked by Marshall's Sue's Bar. The wind sweeps over the fields. The element that usually toys with the harvested corn now moans forlornly, plunging the suburb into melancholy. Winter will change everything. Stores and bars will be strung with sparkling beads of colorful lights, and the snow will smooth the wrinkles and scars of old Riverwood. The town will take on a deceptively pretty and cozy facade. As a kid, Michael loved strolling around there during Christmas vacation, munching on hot pies and watching snowflakes fall through the thick windows of a coffee shop. Back then, he never noticed the aging buildings, chipped concrete, or the gloomy people trying to fake a smile. In autumn, however, the suburb's flaws stand out more sharply. It looks unwelcoming, gray, lifeless. No wonder Eva calls it the season of ghosts. Just thinking of it gives him the creeps.
Well, we're late. Granny and Grandpa will be upset.
If that's the worst that'll happen, then you may as well stay out a little later.
Brian glares at the arcade center door. The sign above the entrance bids them farewell with a wink before switching off. Suddenly, the arcade hall looks run down. Like makeup hiding imperfections, the neon lights had concealed its flaws. Now the walls seem worn out, the windows smudged and streaked. Despite the inky blackness enveloping the town square, they can finally relax. At least Pete isn't lurking outside, waiting to steal whatever else they have.
That bastard left us empty-handed.
Ashley embraces him.
Who cares about that jerk anyway? You kicked Peter's ass and didn't let him walk all over you.
Oh, he's blushing. Brian completely melts, beaming with pride. Ashley doesn't often give compliments. The closer she is to someone, the more she takes jabs at them. As for Brian, he may as well be a dartboard she never gets tired of aiming at. Peter had unwittingly done him a favor.
Right. Did you see how I twisted his palm? But try not to get into a fight to start with next time. Pete's crazy enough to hit a girl.
I doubt you'd let that happen.
Eva interrupts out of the blue, tapping loudly on the cassette and holding it aloft.
If you're done fawning over each other, why don't we talk about your trophy? What do you think is on the tape?
I really hope it's worth a while. Maybe some maniac recorded himself abusing his victims.
Why would you want to see that?
Make it public.
Emboldened by the adrenaline still coursing through his veins, Michael asks Eva to give him the cassette. He has to know. Is it licensed or just another blank tape someone used to record late-night talk shows and football matches?
It smells so weird.
But as soon as Eva hands the tape over, Michael recoils and immediately gives it back. The stench burning his nostrils is unbearable. Old leatherette, gasoline, burnt meat, wood varnish, scented ink. The odors mix together in the most unimaginable way, yet each is still distinct.
Right. Tonight's turned out way better than I expected, but it's time to go. Let's blow this popsicle stand.
They cross the square and come to the town's newest and most affluent suburb. There isn't nearly as much litter lying around here as there is in the park. The residents here are relatively wealthy. Streetlights glimmer all around it. The group heads to Ashley's house first, since it's the closest. It boasts a large yard with plenty of space for a treehouse, a pool, and a heated shed. Fancy houses like that look alien in Riverwood, like jamming a few expensive implants into a row of rotten teeth. The suburb is in no hurry to accept them. Over time, it will wrap them in its shawl of mist and drizzle, engulf them in vines and weeds. It will be years before they truly belong. For now, the house's red-tiled roof still gleams. The pavement is not cracked or sprouted, fresh shoots of dogged grass, and the building is not yet sagged beneath the weight of the passing years. The only light on is her parents' bedroom upstairs, which means Ashley will have to make her own dinner and have it cold.
Ash, you have an old VHS player in your shed, don't you?
Yeah, but I should have gotten rid of it after you'd bought that creepy Italian movie about ballerinas.
They stop by the decorative fins. Circumstances have deprived the friends of their rightful prizes, but one trophy still awaits them in Eva's bag. She has to drag her friends to the shed and give it a shot. After all, if they don't uncover the cassette's secrets together tonight, they might never have another chance.
How about we check out what's on the tape?
I don't mind. Isn't it time for you to go home, though, guys?
In lieu of answering, Brian jumps over the fence and waits for the others. The thrill of the fight still hasn't worn off. He feels ready to move mountains. Michael isn't about to pass the opportunity up either. Their evening couldn't have gone better. Going back home to face the silence and routine of his grandparents' house is the last thing he wants to do right now. Eva beams. Even if the tape holds nothing horrifying, they'll all get to spend a little more time together. Still, she can't ignore her gut feeling that the tape will make their skin crawl. For that reason, she declares beyond a shadow of a
I
doubt.
wish it was always like this. You guys would normally never agree to watch horror movies.
Act 4, a comfy place. I wonder how much further this is going to go than the demo covered. I know that whole scene with Pete was not in the demo. And just the arcade scene in general was changed up a little bit. But I know that we have this scene with Ashley's older brother, and then we play the tape, and right as the tape started, the demo was cut off. So I wonder how much it extends past that point, because I am really excited to get more of the story. As far as the friends are concerned, Ashley's shed is the best and coziest place in the whole suburb. It guards them from boredom and Riverwood's troubles during cold winter nights. And no outsiders are allowed in. It's where Brian kissed Ashley for the first time, where Michael first heard someone call him a friend, and where Eva likes to turn off the lights, gather everyone in a circle, and tell them all about movie plots and local legends. Occasionally, they have to share the shed with Chris, Ashley's older brother, but he doesn't usually interrupt. He lets his sister and her friends fool around and sometimes even joins in. Wait, is he not here now? Because yeah, whenever I played the demo, he was like playing video games and we had a fight to even let him. And we had a fight to even watch the tape because he's like, get out of here, I'm playing video games, blah, blah, blah. Interesting, already a lot of changes. And that day, the shed is all theirs. I wonder if in different routes, he's still there. I don't know, I'm really curious to explore the different routes available. It seems like this is the route you get locked into if you complete all 3 stages. But I'm assuming with the other ones, it would work similarly to the demo where you actually have your tickets and you choose a prize, and each prize is catered to a very specific character that like puts them as the main character in the story or like it revolving around them. I don't know. In the demo, it was the Rubik's Cube and the nerdy guy, what is his name? Michael? And it was really weird because like he cut his hand on it and then there was like writing in blood on the Rubik's Cube. I don't even know. And then also Ashley's older brother was here. So I wonder if all of that is still the same if you go like the Rubik's Cube route, like what was available in the demo. And the shed is filled with dated furniture living out its last days and unused equipment covered in dust, plus other miscellaneous items the family are too lazy to get rid of. Ashley's family is rich enough that they don't need to sell all their old junk, so a lot of it's been stuffed into the shed. Okay, what do we got here? Let's look at, what is this? An archaic Atari Pong console. Ashley's father played it as a teenager, but the only controller broke long ago, and so did the console itself. An antique mirror. Little Ashley loved looking in it and imagining she was a Disney princess. Eva would barely even glance at the mirror. She was 110% convinced that Bloody Mary would come out of it if she wasn't careful. The old motorcycle. About 3 years ago, before Ashley and Brian started dating, Brian saddled it up and drove into the creek. Ashley burst into laughter and Brian was banned from visiting Ashley's house. It seems the ban still hasn't been lifted. That does not look like a motorcycle. That looks like a freaking lawnmower. Scarecrow. The funny scarecrow from the Bennett's field. Ashley asked Chris to steal it after the Bennett's youngest daughter lost her doll. It was hard to believe, but Eva swore the scarecrow had moved on its own. Alright, last but not least. Chris's battered punching bag. Someone must have thrown hatchets and darts at it. No one's inside, but the room still holds hints of Chris's presence. Pillows are scattered all over a big rug, and the air reeks of cigarette smoke. Obviously, he was just here. If the friends had arrived just a little earlier, they would definitely have run into him. Oh, I guess because we got into that fight, we took a little longer to get home, and that's why he's gone. Makes sense. Michael bends over to examine the brand new console. The controller seems to extend its controller toward him invitingly. 3 cartridges are stacked side by side. He wants to play more than anything in the world. Even the fight with Pete and the mysterious tape fades into the background as he stares at his new treasure. He's hardly ever played on this console before, and he isn't likely to get another chance anytime soon. It's too good an opportunity to pass up, if the others don't mind, of course. Full of hope, Michael glances at Ashley. After all, the shed is hers. but she's only staring at the console with disgust, as if they dug it up from a grave.
That's not ours. One of Chris's new buddies must have lent him this while he's under house arrest. Maybe they're worried he'll shrivel up out of boredom like a sun-dried tomato.
Yeah, that seems accurate.
What could Chris have even done to upset your parents so bad? I don't recall you ever being under house arrest.
Ashley looks at her friend like she's just a cute, naive little kitten. Eva, of all people, should have noticed how much Chris has changed, even if it did happen fast. In that way, her friend is just like her parents, who, until recent events, refused to acknowledge what's been happening with their son.
Chris committed the most vicious crime of all, disappointing our parents. Here's the deets. He ran away to another party in the middle of the night and came home totally crunk in the morning. Mom even found a bottle of pumpkin beer stuffed into his jacket pocket.
Dang.
Never guessed Chris was like that.
Ashley can't disagree. Chris has changed lately. He used to play sports. He'd never smoke or follow complete idiots who were only cool to even more moronic idiots like Peter. But strangely, only Ashley seems to have noticed. Maybe she just knows her brother better than other people. He wasn't always a jerk, but something has changed him, dragged out the worst in him, and jammed everything else behind a wall of sarcasm and indifference. The more people expect from him, the less he seems to care about his own life. Michael interrupts Ashley's train of thought. He's hovering around a console like a vulture waiting for an animal to die. It's rather funny.
Can I play a little? Just a couple of minutes, that's all.
Michael has never dared even dream of touching a console before college. His grandparents don't think video games are necessary, and they've tried every possible way to convince Michael of that too. He never argues or throws a fit like some ungrateful kid, but he's sure he'd be happier if he at least had an old game console. If fate had played out differently, he would have had everything. He knows that because as a child, he considered himself the happiest kid in the world. Boys, books, comics, all he'd had to do was ask and it would appear. But that's something he's left in the past. It isn't like he can rewind reality. Michael accepted that long ago, though sometimes he still lets his guard down, and the murky swamp of memories come flooding back. Wait, I think his parents died in a car crash. That would explain why we had that weird jump scare earlier where he thought there was like dead bodies in the car. And it also explains him mentioning how he lives with his grandparents now, as well as him talking about he used to get everything he wants and now he doesn't. So I guess he's probably living with his grandparents because his parents died. That's really sad, poor man.
I wouldn't touch it. It's gotta be from either Sam or Bobby, and they could have pinched it from someone. I don't think you want to play with stolen stuff.
Rumor has it that her brother's new acquaintances are real douchebags. They both come from good families, but gossip about their wicked deeds is always swirling around town. And Chris is constantly trying to squeeze into their gang, schmoozing them with free drinks and cigarettes.
And how about we take advantage of Chris's new acquaintances and ask them to help us out with Peter?
Solve your own problems. But speaking of Sam and Bobby, did you hear how djinns can make dreams come true? Or demons?
Eva instantly perks up, temporarily forgetting all about the cassette and the TV.
They make dreams come true, but only in a way where you really regret it. Peter might pocket our allowances every week, but
Bobby and Sam will make you break into an old church and siphon off the communion wine for him. No way we're asking anybody for help.
Yeah, makes sense. Brian shrugs, settles down on one of the pillows, and jerks his head towards the TV.
Put the cassette in, Eva, or Chris might come back and ruin everything.
Eva quickly obeys, inserting the cassette into the VHS player and making her friends sit in a semicircle.
it's more atmospheric this way.
The screen blinks as if greeting old friends. Somewhere beyond the shed, the wind howls, sweeping out from the fields and descending on the suburb in a cold blast. The shed sways under the pressure and groans like an old man suffering from arthritis. Shreds of plywood and insulation sprinkled down from the roof. A picture begins forming on the screen. This is about where the demo ended, so I'm excited. Let's see it. The black and gray static stripes morph into an image, taking on colors and shapes. One part becomes studio walls. Another area changes into the decorated set of a Friday night show. The rest turn into the body of a game show host, wearing a striped suit jacket.
Well, the evening is saved. There is a recording.
And the host is half turned, and staring at the camera as if waiting for a director's signal to start, or trying to see the audience on the other side of the screen.
Hope it's not a pilot of Wheel of Fortune. I can't stand.
I used to love Wheel of Fortune. My parents always turned it on because it would come on about the same time we had dinner. So Wheel of Fortune was what we watched as our dinner entertainment every day growing up. The rolling static suddenly gives way to an orchestral intro song. The musicians seem to have conspired to play as badly as possible.
It's definitely the one and only episode. They would never broadcast a show with an intro this bad.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome, my sweet and miserable guests, to the most unique, funniest.
The angle abruptly changes, and the studio suddenly looks less bright and cheerful. Okay, so we are getting an extended view. Let's go! The walls have lost their false gloss and bright hues. Half the spotlights go out, and those that remain are only dim. But the host keeps smiling.
To the most unique, funniest, and scariest show on TV.
Okay. The friends exchange puzzled glances.
I bet my hand that this is something you've never seen before, and will never see again. Sadly, I've got nothing left to bet. I ate my hand before the show.
What does that even mean? Somewhere in the background, canned laughter and applause ring out. The teenagers can certainly believe the host really did devour his hand before the show. But he had literally both hands in that picture, did he not? I don't know, maybe I'm taking it too literally. It's the autism. His behavior is odd. His speech is too dramatic. He keeps breaking into screams, choking on his cackling. Somehow, he manages to act both insanely cheerful and inappropriately gloomy at the same time. All depending on the angle the producer chooses.
We should have caught up with Peter and given him the cassette. He'd never mess with us again after seeing this. He'd think we were complete psychos who might stab him in the school locker room. Would anyone sober record this bullshit?
Well, I like it. Never heard of the show. It looks unusual. Why don't we just give it a try?
I think you're a little too optimistic, Eva. Something is definitely wrong here. Michael and Brian nod, staring intently at the flickering screen. The host, as if waiting for their verdict, steps back from the camera and holds his hands out in an inviting gesture.
So come on, take a seat, the broken and prideful,
The shot changes.
the reserved, and those embracing everything new,
The shot changes.
the brave, cowardly, dependent, and free. Get comfortable. Enjoy.
The screen ripples. The host's voice dwindles, then deepens. It sounds muffled as if it's emanating from a cellar filled with soil.
Yourself.
The picture dissolves into a rippled black and white mess, and a terrible crack bursts out of the speakers.
The end. That's enough for today.
What if there's more? Who would spoil a whole cassette to record such a short clip?
Eva gets up from the pillow and goes up to the VHS player to fast forward a bit. Her hand is already outstretched when the beeps speed up. They boom out bass. Suddenly, the beeps sound subdued. A steady hum emanates from the speakers. Eva freezes, peering at the screen. Girl, you're gonna get sucked in. Back up.
Doing it.
No one answers. What's happening? Act 5, back to the drawing board. Wait, could maybe Eva see it, but no one else could? They just all static? The noise pouring out of the speakers absorbs all other sounds. But it isn't hissing, cracking, or howling anymore. It's knocking. At first, it's monotonous, but the knocking soon speeds up. It belts their eardrums like an old alarm clock, mercilessly rattling every morning. Eva shakes her head to drive away a nightmarish vision and rubs her face with her palms. But the knocking is still there, and Eva knows what's making it. It's a branch from the old hazel tree her father had been threatening to cut down for 2 years. It must have once again gotten its gnarled fingers caught on the windowsill. It scratches the windows every time the wind blows. But today, a true storm is raging outside. The rain lashes the window, covering it in dirty spots as the hurricane-like gusts shake the hazel tree like a school bully shaking down a junior. Confused, Eva checks her bedroom. Everything looks as usual there. The table and the shelves are perfectly arranged, and the bed carefully made. Even the posters are still hanging in a strict line, as if in an art exhibit. Eva loves it when everything is in place. Whenever her mother is overwhelmed at work, Eva and her father are left responsible for cleaning the house. And the less you litter, the less you have to clean. Okay, so I guess I can look at her stuff now? A tillandsia flower. It looks like it sprang straight out of the pages of a fairy tale. A fan gave it to her mother at an exhibition, and it's growing in a pot Ashley had made during an extracurricular pottery workshop. The pot isn't the best, but Eva will never swap it out for another one. The book Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak. Eva adored it as a kid. Now she's rereading it to her younger brother. A family photograph. It was taken the day Eva had gotten her first braces. Tony was tiny back then, and their parents looked happy. Her mother wasn't absorbed in her art career yet. Back then, she cared about her family more than canvases and paints. A feather. Their parent, Sancho, lived for 6 years. His loss was unbearable, so Eva still had one of his feathers as a keepsake. At first, she couldn't handle looking at it. She'd burst into tears every time she saw it. Where's the other thing to click? Oh, right here. A VHS collection. And there's a light mystery in the first row. Behind it are the slashers. The third row is reserved for Italian horror movies, marked with a strange word. Giallo. I have no idea what that means. Alright, I googled it. It's Italian for yellow, and it refers to a distinct genre of Italian thriller horror literature and film, characterized by stylish violence, lurid mystery, and suspense. Interesting. Okay, fair enough. And behind everything else, hidden in a Cinderella case, the creepy movie Necromancer is waiting for its time to shine. It's better if her mother doesn't know about it. Eva's head shoots up as she hears quiet steps approaching.
Tony?
Oh, it's her little brother! So cute. Her brother is standing by the door, shifting from one foot to the other and holding a thick cardboard cup with a string snaked through the bottom. The string writhes on the floor and crawls through the hallway. His long-sleeved shirt with a pink dinosaur was a dad's gift for him last Christmas. Since then, Tony takes it off only at bedtime, and for the laundry. Lately, Eva's brother always looks a little confused, as though he's only wandered into Eva's room by accident after getting lost in his own home. His big eyes hold a strange expression she can't quite explain or describe. No matter how much she talks to him, words are never enough. Even when all his most important questions are answered, Tony just comes up with new ones.
I fixed her thread. String telephone. Here.
Aww.
Yesterday I could barely hear anything.
Eva takes the cup and puts it on her nightstand.
It's time to go to bed, baby. When you're all set, pull the string twice and I'll read some bedtime stories for you.
She ruffles his hair and he happily runs back to his bedroom. They often talk to each other before bedtime because Tony isn't used to falling asleep alone. He has to chat with him, weave magical stories, retell movies and comic plots until he starts snoring. The string slowly tightens and lifts up from the floor, which means Tony is already in bed and ready to listen. Eva put the cup to her ear. She heard familiar creaks and rustle from the other side.
Can you hear me, Tony?
Loud and clear. I fell asleep today. By myself. Well, I almost did, but then a huge storm hit. Thunder. And something creaked in the closet, so well...
Please don't tell me there's a monster in this kid's closet. Because on the starting menu, there's a closet with like a monster coming out of it, so please don't tell me her little brother is going to get got by a monster, because he's too cute. I can't let anything happen to this little boy, he's too precious. He doesn't finish. He's ashamed of his childish behavior, though he does his best to look brave for Eva. But blaming him for his fears would be foolish. Of course kids are scared when a storm is raging and thunder is crashing right outside. Especially if the room is dark and windowless. It's easier for Eva. As a child, she learned to befriend her fears. She often left a bowl of milk or a handful of candy out in case a monster was lurking under her bed. Then it's not a monster anymore, but a little buddy rustling candy wrappers in the middle of the night. Tony isn't the same as her though, and she has to accept that.
Then close your eyes and listen. I made up a new story.
They're surrounded by routine. She wants to calm Tony down the way she's used to wish her father sweet dreams, leave a croissant for her mother in the kitchen so that she'll remember not to drink milk or coffee on an empty stomach.
What's the story about? Is it scary? hear a scary story today?
No, it's a legend about a magical arcade machine that teleports brave and obedient kids into its world of adventures.
For some reason, amid the whirlwind of thoughts and images racing through her mind, she chooses an arcade machine. Or rather, it chooses itself, as if it were alive. It appears in her mind's eye in all its beauty. That black, oily luster and 2 scarlet buttons. But she can't present it to Tony as is. It needs to be wrapped in something brighter, lighter, and more mysterious. Her baby brother sighs with excitement.
It must be dangerous there. There are lots of monsters in games.
It's an adventure. It wouldn't be an adventure without monsters.
Without warning, someone opens the door. Oh, I'm assuming that's Mom. She does not look good. The string falls limp. Eva drops the cup and gasps. Her mother enters the room, tired, disheveled, and soaked in the odor of solvent, paints, and coffee. Perhaps she's worked too long again and remembered that she missed dinner only after her dizziness and lower back pain reared up. She always complains about that to Eva's father.
Didn't hear you come home. Why are you up so late?
She glances at the cup rolling on the floor. Eva's mother can scarcely understand what her children are up to. What's all the late night storytelling for? Why can't Tony just go to bed and fall asleep? She's shocked every time one of them outgrows last year's clothes. Even now, surprise lights up her reddened eyes.
Chatting with Tony again? He needs to learn to fall asleep on his own. Tell him to brush his teeth and go to bed right now. At least that will put these toys to good use.
That's so cruel, man.
Of course, Mom. Tony's almost asleep. Oh, today was so long, but cool. We cleaned up the chemistry room, then we went to the arcade center, and then I came back home.
Eva stops abruptly. Something's missing. Something crucial. But she can't remember. And judging by her wandering gaze, her mother still hasn't returned from the world of images, shades, and episodes of other people's lives, all captured on canvas.
You know what? You're right. Tony ought to fall asleep without my chatter tonight. Good night, Mom.
She doesn't even get a smile in return. It's as if her mother's emotions have been drained out of her like water from a shattered vase. Perhaps they've settled on her canvases instead, leaving not a single drop for real life. Year after year, her work has devoured her, turning her into a completely different person.
Good night, darling. I think I'm gonna have a cup of milk and go to bed too.
Mom going to bed? No, not her.
Eva knows her mother will go back to the workshop soon. She won't fall asleep until dawn, completely exhausted next to her easel. When her mother closes the door behind her, Eva picks up the cardboard phone. Eva picks the cardboard phone up and hangs it on the hook her dad screwed into the wall specifically to hold it. The cup hardly even touches Eva's hands when the string tightens again.
Tony, go to bed. Mom just came and scolded us for chatting.
You promised me a story about an arcade machine.
Eva suddenly feels so exhausted that she can't fathom making up even the simplest story. Not even another yarn about the brave veggie kingdom she stuffed his ears with since childhood to teach him to love healthy food. As if she's inherited part of their mother's fatigue, Eva's eyes water from drowsiness and her legs go weak. Eva doesn't want to upset Tony, but it really is late. They should have been in bed long ago, and there's no better weather for curling up under a warm, cozy blanket. But Tony isn't about to let her go that fast. For him, it isn't just rain or lightning outside. It's bloodthirsty creatures lurking beyond the walls. And only Eva's voice can keep their shadows from seeping through the air vents or the cracks in the plaster.
Go to bed, little one. I'll come up with 2 adventures for you tomorrow, I promise.
Tony wants to protest, but the offer is too tempting. Sometimes he begs her to make up new stories about his favorite characters, but he mostly listens. 2 whole stories waiting for him the next night. That feels like a fair trade for one night's peace. Besides, the thunder has already stopped splitting the sky, and now only the rain is rustling softly against the roof and grass outside. Okay. I keep forgetting it's voice acted now, and so I instinctively go to read the dialogue, and then I hear the voice acting and I get embarrassed, and I'm like, oopsie, I wasn't supposed to read that. I'm not used to visual novels having full voice acting. I think that's the second time I've done that. She puts the cup away. Her eyelids seem insanely heavy, but strange thoughts still occupy her mind. Not even bothering to put on her pajamas, Eva collapses onto her bed and presses her cheek against the pillow. Today really was long and hard. So much happened. The outburst in chemistry class, cleaning, walking along Riverwood Park with her friends, the shopping square, and arcade center.
What was next?
There's a blank space in her memory between the arcade center and coming back home. Fragments of phrases. Merry, beeping music, a flickering light, and clouding it all, a black and white haze. Her lethargy evaporates. Eva rolls onto her back and stares at the ceiling. Something else definitely happened, but the memory keeps slipping away, getting lost. Something important happened at the arcade center. It's clinging to her and her friends like a parasite, stubbornly pulling them into the darkness, engulfing Riverwood. Is she forgetting about the VHS tape, I wonder? Of course, the old town has been keeping the secrets of many generations. The ghosts of the ancient church Eva's grandmother told her about, the cursed coin, the bodies buried in the fountain of the town hall. But those are just legends. No evidence of them has ever been found. She just needs to remember how she, Ashley, Brian, and Michael stepped into the arcade center. And then she hears a silent rustle next to her. The makeshift phone is crawling along the nightstand. Eva just manages to catch it before it falls. She quickly presses the cup to her lips.
Tony, you're still awake?
Please don't tell me the monster got him. Ah! A sickening, ear-splitting screech is the only response. Astonished, Eva can hardly suppress her scream. And that sounds just like the electric timer in the art workshop attic. Her mother set it up so that the jarring sound would distract her from her work every 3 hours. It reminds her that there are other people living in the house who she should spend time with. But why was that shriek next to her baby brother? She doubts Tony took the timer to his room. Eva hurries into his room to check on him. No, he's gone! The bed is empty. Eva throws up her hands. Tony rarely leaves his room at night. He always leaves a cup of water or milk on his nightstand before bed, so he won't have to go to the kitchen. And he would have passed Eva's room if he'd gone to the bathroom. If nothing else, she definitely would have heard his footsteps. There's only one other place where Tony and her mother's alarm clock could be at the same time. It isn't something he normally does, but she can't think of a better explanation.
What a silly boy. Why did you go to the workshop? He should know better. He'll have bad dreams if he looks at Mom's paintings.
Oh, I forgot. Her mom's the one that makes the scary paintings. And they could influence even an adult's mind so terribly that there's always a nurse on standby at her exhibitions, ready to tend to the most impressionable visitors. That's crazy. Why would you want to make stuff like that? I can't imagine it. I don't know, man. I like horror, but not that level of horror. Like, I just like a nice light spook. Nothing too intense. The thought of what Tony might see there horrifies Eva. She remembers how Ashley tossed and turned, unable to sleep after visiting the workshop during a sleepover. How she had complained about nightmares afterwards. If her brother sees those paintings, she'll be up all night distracting him from anxious thoughts. As for the next day, not even 2 stories will be enough.
Tony, what's up with the radio silence?
Not a single sound comes from the other side of the toy phone. Eva doesn't like it when Mom scolds her, and she likes it even less when the one being scolded is Tony, and her brother's 110% going to be punished for going into Mom's workshop without permission. Eva creeps into the hall and peers around carefully. Only now does she notice that the string leads towards the attic entryway. It's hard to discern on the first try as it's laying right in line with the baseboard. Eva timidly passes her parents' bedroom and hesitates by the stairs leading up to the 2nd floor. Even there, a few of her mom's paintings, unpleasant to look at in the dim light, are hung on the walls. Eva's used to them, but Tony still rushes past the hall, sometimes shutting his eyes tight. And their father's been planning to take them down or move them somewhere else, but doesn't want to upset his wife. He has no idea how to bring it up, so the image of a woman pressing her palms to her face is still staring into the corridor with wide eyes. A black silhouette flits on the left side of the stairs. I hate that. I just realized there's like a creepy painting. It's so dim on the screen that I didn't notice it at first. Eva presses the cup to her lips and whispers,
Tony, go downstairs while Mom's in the kitchen. Alright, I'm coming up, but if Mom catches us both, I'll get in trouble first, and I'll have every right to be mad at you, Tony. Who knows? Maybe you won't be getting an ice cream this weekend.
She smiles and walks upstairs. It's really hard to stay angry at her little brother. All over the stairs are slinkies of all colors. Tony is always playing with them on the stairs, racing them and setting them up like they're contestants. Aw, I'm so sad we couldn't have got him a slinky at the arcade because all of our freaking tickets got stolen. I love this little kid already. I want him to be happy. I wish him the best, and I'm still praying he didn't get got by a monster. Rabbit Mo, a stitched up teddy bear named Pig, and a shapeless stuffed owl Eva bought at an autumn fair. Whichever slinky wins spends the night in Tony's bed as reward. But Tony usually carefully cleans up after himself every night and puts the slinkies back into their signed boxes. The mess he's left tonight is completely inexplicable, and Tony isn't on the stairs. The phone string is laced through the gap under the door at the top. Eve switches the light on. A twisted light fixture flashes on, illuminating the workshop door and the sign hung on it. Inscription, "Keep out, nosy." And the words are written with an extremely beautiful script, her mother's handwriting. A funny sketch of a three-headed dog guards the door. Eva painted that hellhound 2 years ago when she was into Greek mythology. Her mother was delighted that her daughter liked painting too, but it was Eva's last drawing. Oh, so many creepy paintings. But the one on the left looks very similar to the guy on the tape, but it's probably just the art style, just like the very elongated face. I don't know. And the door opens with ease, letting Eva into a short, narrow hallway. The mother was usually scolding kids for coming in without commission, and their mother was usually scolding kids for coming in without permission. Eva had a rare chance to see new and failed works. But it wasn't the kind of rule Eva's tempted to break. The older she gets, the less she cares about her mom's paintings. It isn't the framed nightmare she wants to see, but the person who creates them. The paintings make a lasting impression on everyone. Some are enchanting, others are frightening. Mom mostly paints people, or to be more precise, their emotions. Eva prefers paintings of fairies, magic. Oh, accidentally clicked, my bad. At least that kind of art doesn't make Eva wonder why an orphan who's just been taken in by a family is crying amid their adoptive parents' shared joy. Or why the wife of an unlucky worker is sad when he wins a considerable sum in the lottery. Taking a breath, Eva heads deeper into the workshop. The darkness thickens. It feels dense and sticky, like sweet jelly. With every moment that passes, it feels more distinct on the skin, tangling in her hair and staining her blouse in patches. And the light switch is right next to a painting depicting hunger. As she reaches for the switch, Eva thinks about touching the cold, sallow skin of the dying girl in the picture. Meanwhile, a self-portrait of her mother, who looks more like a shriveled-up corpse than herself, rears back as if she's about to sink her loose teeth into Eva's fingers. I guess turn on the light, it's our only option. Here goes nothing! The lamps flicker frantically, choked by the darkness. Dad promised to fix the wiring a month ago, but so far he's only opened the breaker panel.
Perfect timing.
Eva mumbles aloud just to hear the reassuring sound of her own voice, and to attract Tony's attention. Though her brother isn't naughty, sometimes he hides and waits for someone to find him, but only ever in his bedroom or Eva's.
Why in the world did he go to the workshop this late?
He probably got dragged by a monster! Eva begins to coil the string around her hand, in the hope that it's all just a dumb prank or a silly childish game shields her from her darkest thoughts. And yet, everything feels strange, wrong. It's nothing like what she's used to. She wants the game to end with a stupid cry of boo from around the corner.
Tony must have hidden behind some old canvases or the curtain. There's nowhere else to hide in here, so finding him will be a piece of cake.
In the darkness, she trips over one of the paintings.
Damn it!
Overcoming her unease, Eva realizes she's angry. At Tony, at Dad, at Mom, the house. That wretched workshop where you can't even take a single step without tripping over some nightmare. It's like the frames, the rolled up canvases, and the stools are throwing themselves under her feet on purpose. In the void, it depicts a broken woman who's lost her baby in childbirth. And the heartbroken mother has sunk to the floor, wrapping her arms around her stomach. A pool of blood is spreading beneath her. That is so dark, I hate that. Such works are especially successful at exhibits. Once, her mother even took her art to a personal show in Indianapolis. Apparently, that's why she's been painting more and more. The sadness, pain, and tragedy of an ordinary person resonate the most with her audience. The Nameless, an unfinished work. A happy woman is carrying a puppy wrapped in sheets. The Old Fisherman. It's a silhouette of an old man on a pier. If you look closely, you can see that he has neither fishing rods nor other gear, only a single knife. The water around the old man's feet dispersing into the lake has a crimson hue. Okay? And the fish have fed his family for years. Maybe he's decided to return the favor? That's so dark! Suddenly, Eva realizes there's something wrong with the paintings. Her mother usually paints people's features with yeah, it's all smeared now. Wait, it wasn't like this before. Her mother usually paints people's features and facial expressions in intricate detail to convey the most valuable aspect of her art, emotion. But now the paintings are a mess of paint instead of faces, as they've been ruined by smearing them with wet palms.
Tony, you better come out. This isn't funny. Both of us are gonna be punished if Mom...
The string, coiled up around Eva's hand, tightens.
That's better. Now to see where it leads.
Eva slowly paces through the workshop, feeling the pervasive blackness on her skin. Nameless, unfinished, and spoiled paintings stare at her from corners. Wall hooks and sloping shelves like abandoned children. Somehow, the disfigured faces are visible even in the gloom, as if Mom's added phosphorus to the paint. Seeing all those flickering silhouettes creeps Eva out. The fear crawls under her skin like hundreds of insects. It bites into her bones with its icy teeth and sucks out the heat. Oh! Okay. For a split second, a flash of lightning illuminates the room. Eva falls to the floor in shock. Oh! What the heck is happening? What she sees defies any logical explanation. The string, vibrant with tension, leads directly into a thick darkness clad in a gilded frame, like a pool of dark water swallowing the toy. I don't want to go in there, to be honest. The easel stands in the very center of the room. No, Eva could swear it wasn't there a moment ago. It feels like the unfinished paintings on the shelves are closing in, painted figures patiently staring at her. The string twitches and squirms in her grip, becoming harder to hold with every second. Eva struggles to breathe. Fear floods her body, tightening around her limbs and tangling her thoughts. She hesitantly raises her eyes and looks deep into the inky black painting. Instantly, a wave of cold air washes over her, and a spray of tiny droplets hits her face. A bitter, biting wind blows from the bottomless canvas, its gust carrying an icy drizzle. The painting absorbs the light cast from the window. Eva stares in horror at her hands as the ill-fated string cuts into it. For a second, she's tempted to get rid of it, to chop it off with a knife. But what if it's the last thread connecting her to Tony? She dares not approach the painting. Doubts bombard her as the sticky fear muddles her mind. Oh man. Oh man. We gotta go after our little bro. Eva gently pulls on the cup. On the other side of the painting, someone or something pulls the string frantically in response. A plea for help. Defenseless before an unknown threat. Despair saturates every movement. Once she promised to protect Tony from any danger, real or imaginary. And until tonight, she's never broken that vow. And Tony promised never to let anything happen to Eva either once he grows up. And though she can't see or hear him, her thoughts reach out to him. For their happiest moments together. Warm memories of Tony's childhood pop into her head, shielding Eva from an impending madness. Their ecstatic father announcing that she's going to have a little brother. Eva thoroughly prepares for his appearance, arranging bouquets of wildflowers and cutting out cardboard stars and rabbits. Before going to bed, she dreams of how they'll rewatch the never-ending story together. The baby arriving, joyful and bright, as if from a fairy tale world. He laughs in his cradle, looking at his sister. He sticks his hand out and grabs Eva's, his tiny palm clutching her fingers surprisingly tightly. Playing together among the loose snowdrifts, magically driven in on Christmas Eve. Tony tires quickly and constantly falls, his blue boots lifting up to the sky. He whimpers, when Eva picks him up and carries him on her shoulders. He laughs and hugs her with warm palms. And now, amid the nightmare that's desecrated their home, Eva silently begs Tony to grasp the string as tightly as he used to squeeze her finger and never let go. In return, she swears she'll give him 100 slinkies of every color of the rainbow. Mountains of lollipops, clouds of cotton candy, which Mom forbids him from eating. Anything to keep Tony's fingers tight. Groaning, Eva yanks on the string. The painting replies with another gust of icy wind and a splatter of drizzle that covers the workshop floor with dirty marks, as if it's not water, but paint. And the droplets fly in all directions, staining the neighboring paintings and sketches. When a few splashes hit the canvas, the paintings come to life and begin to change. The young and the old, men and women, already frozen in unimaginable poses, are losing their natural appearance. Their arms grow longer, new joints contort their fingers. Your legs bend in the wrong direction as if they're locusts. And the faces. Oh, I hate this is blood splattering. Please, Eva, don't be like getting murdered off screen. Oh wait, that guy's eyes are glowing. Ooh, yeah, the faces are definitely changing. What was a shapeless mess a moment ago is now morphing into mutilated features. They look like careless sketches, distorting the emotions Eva's mother intended to depict, revealing them from another, previously invisible angle. Eva tugs the string hard. She puts everything into it. Her desperation, love, and fury at the nightmare swallowing their home into its bubbling depth. Whatever lurks on the other side of that canvas, it will not take her baby brother. She's always protected him, always saved him from nightmares, and she's not about to let anyone hurt him now, no matter what monsters, real or unreal, come crawling out.
I won't give him up. Never!
And her mother's collection of black pearls surrenders. The disfigured people in the paintings curiously observe what's happening, perhaps even delighted in her struggle. But Eva's afraid that if she looks back, she'll lose her mind. She takes one step forward, then another. The otherworldly wind gusts make her sway, dousing her in the pungent stench of paints and solvents. It knocks the wind out of her. Her heart almost stops, skipping a few beats before hammering against her chest once again. Her shirt is soaking wet, growing tight and uncomfortable. Sweat pours off her face and freezes on her cheeks. No. Oh. I forgot that she reads that line. But Eva doesn't listen to her inner voice. Slowly, as if stuck in resin, she wades through the congealed air towards the painting in the gilded frame. And the string in her fingers turns sticky and viscous, soaked in a glossy liquid. Oh god. Oh. Something heavy attached to the opposite end slips across the floor. Eva's mind wails and begs her to turn and run away, to shield herself with the door, but she just can't. The mysterious catch inches closer. Please don't tell me it's her dead baby brother. I'm gonna cry, bro. Oh man. Her fingers touch something soft, wet. Strands of the disturbing substance cling to her hands. Hair. It's heavily smeared with scarlet. A puddle of stunningly rich red begins to spread across the floor. It's almost flaming in the dark. No, it can't be. This can't be happening. No! I'm actually so sad right now. Eva collapses to her knees and wraps her arms around the decapitated head of the kindest and most innocent human she has ever known. I hate this, bro. Why you gotta do this to my boy Tony? And toy phone string hangs down, hooked into the crevices of his vertebrae. It looks like someone has ripped the head off his body as easily as tearing the cap off a ballpoint pen. Tony's eyes are as cloudy and empty as a fish's. His mouth is frozen in a death wail. Black blood oozes from his nostrils. It's unimaginable, cruel, unfair. No world can be so brutal as to let something like this happen. Not even in the stories. Not with Tony. Not with her baby brother. She sways, feeling neither the cold nor the droplets drizzling out from the painting in the gilded frame.
This can't be. It's hypnosis, hallucinations, blood, witchcraft, or someone's imagination. Thorium intent.
Eva suddenly realizes that a painting of her sitting in the middle of the studio and cradling Tony's head would look great in her mother's new collection. Tragedy and pain, fear and tears. People would be glad to buy it, showering the artist with praise. They would rapturously stare at Eva's lips, contorted with grief, her eyes wet with tears, her gnarled fingers frozen on Tony's mutilated flesh. They would admire her expression, warped with torment and tension so great that she felt like a weary old woman trapped in a child's body. And the horror that thought evokes is sobering.
I can't just sit back and wait for another terrible thing to happen so that I won't be able to change or forget it. I have to get away, run, save myself and our parents.
Many of the heroes that inspire Eva so much had tough challenges. It always seems impossible to defeat hordes of creepy creatures, escape an insidious trap, or cheat death. But if you don't retreat or give up, if you make progress towards your goal, no one can. A flash of lightning floods the room, followed by a shuddering thunderclap. Reality is a lot different from fictional stories, no matter how good or full of morals they are. And the fear is different too. It's impossible to hide from it by simply closing the book or turning the TV off. The paintings come to life. Oh my gosh, are we gonna die? The characters liberate themselves from the captivity of canvases and frames. The paint transforms into skin and flesh. The subjects looked almost like people, all except for their distorted proportions, some becoming even more deformed. But the worst part is the unfinished paintings, with inhabitants still capable of moving. They crawl out, jump like toads, hobble forward on stick straight legs. They lack heads and limbs. The sketches turn into awful wounds, bloodless and dry. Barely moving, Eva takes one last look at her brother's head. It's real.
I'm sorry, my little boy. I can't stay with you anymore. I'm so sorry.
Dang. Eva drops the head and slowly gets to her feet. The painting in the gilded frame now reaches all the way to the ceiling. The wind and splashes of thick blackness have ceased sloshing out of it. Instead, brushstrokes start materializing amid the inky, impenetrable abyss. Crimson and gray, a little white, green, and buckets of red. Eva steps back. She knows exactly who will be in this painting.
Don't you dare. Whoever you are, don't you dare.
No, Tony. But the invisible artist is unstoppable. It relishes its power. To them, even her unlucky brother's lives are more worthless than oil paint. It will finish. Wipe the brush clean and forget all about the miserable siblings. Just a little time and a dozen heartbeats seem to have come by. The canvas revealed a small, headless, skinny body, tightened into dirty pajamas. Dead Tony in the middle of the workshop. But he isn't centered. It's missing a detail. Next to him, there's just enough space for one 14-year-old girl. No! Maybe she'll be mourning. Maybe she'll be a bloated corpse, unable to escape the workshop alive. Oh, what the... The instant the last stroke dries, the disfigured bodies turn to Eva. She can't see their faces or eyes, but she knows they're looking at her. We're totally dying, aren't we? Aw, man. Did I screw up? Was this avoidable? Dude, I hate this creepy thing. I'm at least kind of covering it for you all. The bodies lurch forward, to her, to bury her forever in a coffin of canvases and paints. I hate this. Ew. Eva shrieks so loudly that her cry should wake not only her parents, but their neighbors as well. But the house only answers with silence. The girl rushes to the workshop door, but it's jammed shut, and the handle won't budge. Push the handle? Shadows slither closer. They don't make a sound, but from her periphery, Eva can see a revolting crowd of revived characters. They're in no rush. They know Eva has nowhere to run. Now it's their home, their exhibit, and sooner or later their magnum opus will be complete. Push harder! Go, go, go! The door surrenders and slams into the wall behind it. Eva flies downstairs and pauses in the hall, sucking in a deep breath. The world in her eyes ripples and fades away, as if distorted by television static. Wait, was this all like a dream? Is she in the tape? Daddy! Huh? Just the way it said it was like static. I don't know. Because if you remember, at the end of the last act, she was like staring in the static, like, oh no, how could this be? So like, what if everything that's happening right now all takes place in the time that she was like staring into the static? I don't know. Probably not the case, but meh. The scream sinks into the emptiness of the house like a stone falling into a deep well. No echo, no response, not even a ripple, only a deathly silence.
Help me, Dad!
The walls devour every word.
Dad's sleeping too deep. Otherwise, he'd definitely hear me. And Mom, she must have fallen asleep by the coffee pot.
Eva clenches her fists helplessly. There's no time, but nothing is enough to wake her parents. And the thought of being embraced by the very arms that painted all those horrors makes her stomach churn. Eva suspects her mother is gifted with some kind of supernatural power. The kind that leads people to unknown paths, to where nightmares live, where only prophets and ancient witches dare tread. An hour earlier, she would have never believed it, but after what she's witnessed in the workshop, seeking inspiration, her mother has found something forbidden and let it loose. Eva can't convince herself it was an accident.
Mom must be in the kitchen. Otherwise, I would have already run into her here or in the workshop. I'll have to wake her up first, and then together we can...
Something clatters on the stairs. Ooh, I hate that. What is that? Ew! Sensing their prey escaping, the human-like beasts speed up. And the first is crawling downstairs, leaning against the wall with hacked-off limbs. Oh, there's another one? One glimpse of that monstrosity is enough to forget any exhaustion, panting, or headache. Eva rushes towards her parents' bedroom. In the dimness, she trips and all but smashes her nose. But the pain of falling is the least of her concerns. Just like she did after watching horror movies or creepy cartoons as a child, she rushes through the dark hall into her parents' room. Nowhere in the world was safer than their bed. Laughing, her father would build a cozy pillow fort where she could hide from any ghosts or critters. Dad was always there for them, helping as much as he could until work swallowed him whole. Eva and Ashley wanted a treehouse, and Dad never asked why. He just needed to know what they wanted it to look like and where to bring the boards. The kids wanted to go on a trip to the farm by the lake. He helped them pack, bought them snacks, and reminded them to stay away from the water. He even gave Brian a homemade baseball bat and a knowing wink. Dad's never lied to her or let her down. She's always been able to count on him.
Dad's here somewhere. He's strong. He'll protect me. He'll fight them off.
How doesn't matter. She just wants to snuggle up to someone close, warm, alive. Someone without that otherworldly stench.
He must be somewhere here. Even if Mom's still sitting in the kitchen, he's definitely catching Z's now because he gets up for work at 5 a.m. Dad? Where are you?
Eva grabs the bed and pulls herself up. But in her haste, she's forgotten that the workshop is not the only place her mother hangs her paintings. The bedroom is decorated with luxurious canvases, some Central European weirdo once ordered and even partially paid for. As a kid, when Eva was still slightly interested in art, she used to love sitting in her dad's armchair and gazing at that painting. In it, an aristocratic family competing in the sophistication of their wigs and the brightness of their makeup are gathered around a long table, ready to eat. Well, they're supposed to anyway, but Mom viewed their feast a little different. They're eating people, aren't they? I'm calling it. The men and women sit gloomily at an empty table. A huge plate lies before them, devoid of anything but a handful of wheat, spattered with blood. Ooh, okay. The big picture window in the background reveals a view of scorched fields, the blackened remains of burnt houses, and the peasants' broken mills. Eva didn't really know what the client was looking for, but he had certainly been unhappy with the way her mother had depicted his family. And that's why the picture is even more insulting details now. Like a servant wielding a log to fight off a pair of fat rats. Compared to her mother's other works, Eva likes this one. But today... Ooh, gross. Wait, is that our dad? Dangling out of the canvas are her father's legs, floundering in a pathetic attempt to escape captivity. Lunging forward, Eva grabs her father's shins, but that split second of hesitation is just enough for the painting to completely swallow the strong man. No! The painting turns hazy, then mutates. Now the aristocrats' faces shine with delight. I knew it, I knew it. I knew it was gonna be a cannibalism thing. On the table, nauseously seared and shrouded in a baked crust, lies Eva's father, who fits perfectly on the enormous plate. The head of the family is sharpening a knife, and the guests leer at their cannibalistic feast, clutching exquisite forks with plump fingers. Even the rats wait under the table, hoping to grab a scrap or two. The air is awash with the sickening odor of paint, solvent, barbecue. Eva grimaces in terror. She wants to howl, groan, call for help, but she can only spit out unintelligible sounds, like a sheep trying to bleed after its throat is slashed open. Everything precious to her has disappeared into a damn nightmare. Her brothers laugh. Weekend walks with mom and dad. The comfortable home her parents devoted years to creating. The paintings have taken all that away. But what's happened to them? What bloody backwoods has her mother's talent led to? After all, she painted them. She put a piece of her soul in each of them, as she liked telling her audience at exhibitions.
What kind of soul does she really have?
Apparently a really dark and messed up one. The very idea hurts. Worse yet, Eva doesn't even want to see her mom anymore. She can't bring herself to run to the kitchen and tell her what's happened. It makes no sense. Her mother made her choice, and that choice killed Dad and Tony. And if Eva doesn't escape and tell someone, she'll be next. She has to. Even if people think she's crazy, she doesn't care.
Mom wants to live in a world of madness and cruelty. There's no saving her. You chose the company of your paintings. You love them harder than your own kids. So stay with them. Forever. To the front door. Now.
Alright, let's run for it. And the keys are always hanging on a decorative key holder her father made at work. It's an exact replica of their house, made with love and attention to every detail. But now the keys are nowhere to be found. They were not on the dressing room shelves, the phone table, or under the rug. Desperate, Eva kicks the door, the last barrier between life and death. The door feels like a solid brick wall. Dad put so much time and effort into making it strong and sturdy to protect his family from anything outside. He couldn't have imagined that the real danger would come from within. Now that very same door is sealing Eva inside a house of nightmares.
It won't budge. No. Am I ever gonna get out of here?
She looks around, helplessly searching for another escape route. Suddenly, her gaze lands on the most useless thing in their house. The dog door. Eva has always dreamed of having as many pets as possible, but since her parents' death and all the tears she shed for him, her parents have been afraid to bring new pets home. But last year, after Eva ranked among the top 5 students in her class, instead of giving her a gift, her father cut out this pet door. A hint that soon...
Tony always gets in and out easily when he's pretending to be a dog. If he can do it, I can too.
I really hope you can fit, girl. Oh, I'm worried. Is it stuck? Oh, there it goes. Eva drops to her knees and crawls to the door. It's hard to squeeze her body in, so she puts her right hand through and pushes with her legs.
Just a bit farther now.
The smell of rain-soaked soil and pavement hit her nose. The rain relentlessly lashes against the porch and the roof of the car parked by the garage, gathering in murky torrents in the gutters. The air feels damp and clean. No trace of the workshop's suffocating stench. Even the night seems surprisingly bright. Paintings and painted monsters have no place outside. If they dare follow her, surely the rain will finish them off, dissolving them and smashing them against the pavement. Oh, dude, I hope she's not too big. She's no more than a foot away from salvation when she feels a vile touch. Something wet, sticky and hot wraps around her left wrist. The air fills with the suffocating smell of paint and solvent, but they're quickly blotted out by the reek of a large, sweaty body. The monster's grasp holds Eva firmly in place, not permitting her to move so much as an inch forward. She clings to the half-open dog door and spins around. In the brightness of a streetlight, she faces a formless darkness. Before her eyes, the darkness splinters into pieces. She'd rather go blind than see this nightmare come to life. The hallway resembles a black hole hollowed out by a massive larva. Inside, something heavy wheezes and trudges closer until finally, Eva discerns the horrifying figure. A gelatinous, fat body trembles in the darkness. It's hard to guess what that creature used to be. Now it's hideously swollen. The chef's apron covering its stomach is all but bursting. Gnarled arms sprout from the pallid flesh on its back. Like a toad, the bottomless mouth spills out a long tongue, which coils around Eva's wrist. Ew! Letting out a strangled sob, Eva tries to free her hand. But the tongue won't let go. It bites into her skin, sucking on it with a horrible gnawing sound. The fat monster shudders and drools lustfully.
Get your hands off me, fiend!
Eva yanks her hand again. For a moment, it seems like the monster's grip has loosened. Her muscles ache from the strain, and her fingers hurt, but she keeps fighting. Oh, okay. I got this. Concentrate. Okay, we gotta really tap. Come on, Eva, you can get out of here. And the creature's tongue slips away, and with a wet clack is sucked back into its maw. This small victory gives Eva a burst of strength and agility. She dives back through the pet door, writhing like a snake. Oh, I guess we're saved? And slides outdoors. And the beast's tongue flies out of its mouth again, but this time it hits the door. The monster howls and flounders in a helpless rage, but Eva can't see or hear it anymore. The rain shelters her from the nightmares of the place she once belonged in. Then the world dissolves into static noise, flooding her eyes and blurring her vision. A moment later, Eva's back in the shed, staring at the rippling screen. I called it! I literally called it! That all of this took place while she was staring at the static. Crazy. Oh, she's still bruised, so it did happen. Interesting. To be continued! Dang! That was really good. That was really, really good. And I'm glad that episode 1 wrapped up nicely to where we got Eva's full story, and I'm not left on a giant cliffhanger. I'm wondering if maybe the next chapters, like each chapter will explore a different character. I'm assuming if I were to go back and change the beginning, oh, I should be in the credits. I forgot. I should be in the credits somewhere. I don't know where. I gotta watch for myself as I'm speaking. Because I was a backer on Kickstarter. I might have already missed myself because I wasn't paying attention, but we'll see. Hopefully not. But if I go back, maybe I could already kind of experience other people's stories. I'm not really sure yet. Or maybe Eva's story is always first. I'm not sure. Either way, I am so excited for the rest of the chapters to release. There I am! There I am! Look at me! Carmenism! That's me! Heck yeah. Anyway, yeah, absolute cinema. 10 out of 10. Love it. Can't wait for the rest. I think it's supposed to be 5 episodes when it's fully done, but I don't know when it's going to be done. I know it still has a little ways to go, but I will definitely be keeping my eye out for updates, and I will be playing each episode as it comes out. Episode 1 officially released March 6th, so I'm a little late to the game playing it, because as I currently play it, it's March 11th, but hey, it's fine. I didn't get any of these, like, pug things. I didn't find any. I know there's supposed to be, like, hidden things that unlock a secret. I'm not really sure how it works, though. Maybe I'll look for it some other time. I want to maybe do one more video on Pink Noise where I explore the other options. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed watching me play this game as much as I enjoyed playing it. Consider leaving a like and subscribing so that you'll never miss out on my future content. If you like my videos and would like to be able to watch them before anyone else, consider a membership. Starting with the next upload, everyone that is Karma Core or higher will get 1 week early access to videos before everyone else. It's a great way to support me as a content creator, as well as get some bonus perks for yourself. In the future, I hope to offer a little more perks for members, but until then, hopefully you guys enjoy the early access to videos. As many of you probably know, there's been a lot of changes going on for my channel recently, but I'm hoping to start uploading at least twice a month. Once I'm fully in my routine, it will be once a week. However, I'm not going to try to push for that right now. I think every other week is pretty solid for the time being. Anyways, that is all I have for you guys today. If you want to check out Pink Noise, I have left a link in the description below so that you can pick it up for yourself. There are so many different options in games like this where you can kind of choose your own path, so I highly recommend trying it out for yourself if you want to learn more about the game. I do my best to showcase it here and there, but there's only so much I can do, especially as the future episodes come out. It's going to be much harder to accurately show every single path available because that's just too much work. Anyways, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video.